That's a good question, thank you. So to elaborate, the BreastQ is as you saw in Anne's presentation, we have this modular approach. What we aim to do is to have some hub scales that are relevant to everyone, and then we have kind of modular scales which are specific. There are many BreastQ scales. I mean, there are, I wouldn't be able to count them. So we weren't able to do them all, but what we did was we were able to go back and look at those that have been used in clinical trials, those that have been used in clinical research, and there's an awful lot of clinical research now that's used them, and we picked the 4 key scales. The important thing then to then say is it's just typical FDA. It's context of use, concept of interest. So the context of use is breast reconstruction. The concepts are around satisfaction, psychological well-being, physical well-being, and sexual well-being. Those are the ones that went through the process. And so in terms of now they've been qualified, we'd be happy to circulate the document that we got. It's in the public domain, so you can link to it, but it actually specifies then the situations and the specific clinical studies that you can then, it's not that it's mandated, but they would recommend use because then you don't have to go through the usual hoops. CEDA have a very similar qualification program. And if you look at the documentation, the way it's set up, there's commonalities across. There are differences as well. So for example, I doubt very much, in fact, I don't doubt, I have no doubt at all that we wouldn't have got, in terms of breast satisfaction, that wouldn't have been a concept that would have been as acceptable to CEDA, because they're much more proximal in what they are interested in. They're interested in symptoms and proximal functioning. So that's what they tend to focus on. And in fact, in the virtual event that was held a couple of weeks ago now, 10 days ago, John Spertus has developed many years ago something called the KCCQ, which is a questionnaire around cardiology and cardiomyopathy. And he was one of the first people to get his scale qualified at CDRH, but when he did the same thing at CEDA, they would only qualify small bits of it. So they would only qualify the symptoms that were the questions that were around symptoms and functioning. They wouldn't look at the others, which were more kind of distal, social functioning, psychological well-being. They wouldn't consider that, and that's because it's just a different focus. So I think that's all I've got to say about that.